It was a crisp autumn evening in London, the kind where the air carried the faint scent of rain-soaked cobblestones, and the distant hum of the city blended with the cries of gulls over the River Thames. The date was October 20, 2025, but back then, it felt like any other day in my chaotic life as a freelance journalist. My name is Ethan Blackwood, 32 years old, with a scar running down my left arm from a childhood fire that had claimed my family's old estate in the countryside. I'd moved to the bustling heart of Camden years ago, seeking the anonymity of the crowds after my wife's death from cancer 2 years prior. She was the light in my world, and without her, I'd buried myself in work, exposing government scandals, digging into corporate corruption, anything to keep the emptiness at bay. That evening, I was out on assignment, or rather, on a self-imposed one. I'd heard whispers on the dark web forums about a strange atmospheric anomaly brewing over the Atlantic, something the mainstream media was downplaying as a freak weather pattern. Black fog, they called it in the conspiracy threads, wispy tendrils of darkness rolling in from the ocean like a living entity. I dismissed it as another hoax at first, but my journalist's instinct nagged at me. So there I was, standing on the South Bank near Tower Bridge, my smartphone mounted on a tripod, live streaming to my modest YouTube channel. The sun was dipping low, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, with the iconic Union Jack flags fluttering from the bridge's towers. Big Ben chimed in the distance, its bells echoing across the water like a reassuring heartbeat of the city. "All right, folks," I said into the camera, adjusting my leather jacket against the chill. "Ethan Blackwood here reporting from the Thames. You've all heard the rumors, the black fog creeping toward Europe from the mid-Atlantic. Satellite images show it's no ordinary storm. It's dense, impenetrable, and moving with purpose. But is it climate change gone mad or something more sinister? Stay tuned as I bring you the facts." The live chat was buzzing with comments, skeptics calling it CGI, doomsayers quoting biblical prophecies, and a few locals joking about it being London's infamous smog reborn. I panned the camera toward the horizon, where the water met the sky in a hazy blur. Tourists milled about, snapping selfies with the bridge as a backdrop, oblivious to the subtle shift in the atmosphere. The air grew heavier, carrying a metallic tang that made my scar itch, a phantom reminder of old burns. As I continued my monologue, describing the latest reports from fishermen off the Irish coast who had vanished into the fog, something changed. The wind picked up, whipping my hair across my face. The gulls fell silent, and a low rumble echoed from the east like thunder rolling in from the channel. I glanced at my phone's weather app, clear skies predicted. But then, over the horizon, it appeared, a wall of blackness, rising like a tidal wave of shadow. It wasn't fog. It was an abyss, swallowing the fatting sunlight and turning the river's surface into inky blackness. "What the hell?" I muttered, zooming in with the camera. The chat exploded. "Is that real? Run, mate. It's here." Panic spread like wildfire. Tourists dropped their phones and bolted, screaming as the fog surged forward. It hit Tower Bridge first, enveloping the structure in seconds. The flags vanished, the towers dissolved into nothingness. I grabbed my tripod and sprinted toward my motorcycle parked nearby, heart pounding in my chest. Behind me, the fog roared, a sound like 1,000 whispers merging into a cacophony. Cars on the bridge screeched to halts, horns blaring as drivers abandoned their vehicles. I hopped on my bike, a battered Triumph I'd inherited from my father, and revved the engine. The fog was closing in fast, tendrils snaking across the water like predatory vines. As I peeled out onto the road, weaving through stalled traffic, I caught glimpses of chaos. A double-decker bus swerving into a lamppost, pedestrians colliding in blind terror. The sky darkened unnaturally, the sun blotted out as if eclipsed by an invisible hand. Streetlights flickered on prematurely, their glow swallowed by the encroaching void. "Stay calm, London," a voice crackled over a nearby police siren, but even the officers were fleeing. I glanced back. The fog had claimed the entire South Bank, turning the iconic skyline into a silhouette of nightmares. My phone buzzed incessantly with alerts. "National emergency. Evacuate coastal areas." black fog inbound. I raced north toward Camden, the familiar streets now alien under the advancing shadow. The fog wasn't just dark, it leached color from everything it touched. The red of a phone booth faded to gray, the green of parked trees withered to ash. I pushed the bike to its limits, dodging abandoned cars and hysterical crowds. A woman with a pram screamed as the fog licked at her heels. I swerved to avoid her, nearly crashing into a barricade set up by frantic military personnel. "Turn back, it's not safe," a soldier yelled, his rifle trained on the horizon. But the fog ignored bullets. Reports from earlier broadcasts said gunfire vanished into it without effect. As I sped past, I heard shots ring out, followed by guttural screams. Whatever was in that fog, it wasn't natural. My mind raced with theories. Was this a weapon? A bioweapon test gone wrong? Or something extraterrestrial as the forums claimed? I'd exposed a scandal last year about government black ops involving atmospheric manipulation. Could this be connected? The scar on my arm burned hotter, a superstitious omen I tried to ignore. Camden came into view, its quirky markets and canal locks a haven amid the madness. But the fog was relentless, blanketing the city block by block. I skidded to a stop outside my 3-story Victorian townhouse, a relic from the 1800s I'd renovated into a fortress of solitude. The building loomed dark against the encroaching night, its windows like empty eyes. I chained the bike hastily and bolted inside, slamming the heavy oak door behind me. The lock clicked with finality. Panting, I leaned against the wall, the cool plaster grounding me. The house was silent, save for the distant wail of sirens outside. I flicked on the lights, thank God the power was still on, and made my way to the living room where my radio setup awaited. No TV for me. I preferred the raw feed of BBC emergency broadcasts. As I tuned in, the fog pressed against the windows, turning the view into an impenetrable black canvas. The vibrant colors of London, the graffiti on Camden's walls, the neon signs of pubs were gone, devoured by the void. "This is BBC News emergency broadcast," a shaky voice announced. "The black fog has breached the channel and is advancing inland at unprecedented speeds. Reports confirm it's not dissipating, it's evolving. Evacuation orders for all coastal regions. Stay indoors if possible." I sank into my armchair, the leather creaking under my weight. My phone was dead, no signal. Isolation hit me like a punch. But then, amid the static, a new voice cut through, rough with an Irish lilt. "This is Jack Razor Harlan reporting from the BBC bunker. Folks, this ain't no ordinary mist. We've got eyewitness accounts of things in the fog, shadows that move, whispers that know your name. If you're out there, arm yourselves with light, lasers, torches, anything bright, and pray because the fog lords are waking." Fog lords. The term sent a chill down my spine. I'd heard it in those dark web threads, legends of Victorian spirits cursed during the Blitz, bound to London's underbelly. Ridiculous, I thought. But as the fog thickened outside, blotting out even the street lamps, I couldn't shake the feeling that something ancient and malevolent had been unleashed. I rummaged through my desk drawer, pulling out a high-powered laser flashlight I'd bought for night investigations. Clicking it on, the beam pierced the gloom inside the room, but outside, nothing, just black. Little did I know, that was only the beginning. The storm from the Thames had arrived, and with it the hunt. The oak door rattled in its frame as if something massive had slammed against it from the other side. I froze in the living room, laser flashlight clutched like a talisman, its beam slicing through the dim glow of my desk lamp. The power was holding for now, but the world outside my Victorian townhouse had become a void, an endless sea of black pressing against the windows like tar. Camden, with its vibrant street art and pulsing nightlife, was gone, swallowed whole. I crept to the nearest window, heart hammering against my ribs. The glass was cold under my palm, fog tendrils curling at the edges like curious fingers. I flicked on the laser and swept the beam across the pane. At first, nothing, just impenetrable darkness. Then, a faint shimmer. I angled it sharper, and there it was. A face. Not human, not quite. It stared back at me from inches away, nose almost brushing the glass. Lord Reginald Ashe, or whatever hellish remnant he was, had skin like weathered parchment stretched over a skull, wrinkled and sagging as if centuries of rot had caught up to him in moments. Strands of silver hair hung limp over his forehead, interspersed with bald patches that gleamed unnaturally white. His eyes, God, those eyes! Black irises with ghostly white pupils that bored into my soul unblinking. And his mouth, stretched in a wide, toothy grin that revealed jagged fangs coated in rust-colored residue. He wore the tattered remains of a nobleman's greatcoat from the 19th century, buttons long rotted away, exposing a shirt stained with what looked like dried blood. No color touched him. He was a negative image of life, drained to grayscale horror. Worst of all, his lips moved. No sound penetrated the glass, but I felt it, a whisper slithering into my mind. Ethan Blackwood, you burned me. 1940. I recoiled, stumbling back into the armchair. What the fuck? My voice echoed hollowly in the empty house. The scar on my arm throbbed like fire, memories flooding back. My grandfather's war stories, how he'd torched a Nazi supply depot during the Blitz. Reginald Ashe, could he be? No, impossible. Ghosts didn't exist. But this was real. The radio crackled to life, Jack Razor Harlan's voice cutting through the panic like a knife. If you're hearing this, you're one of the lucky bastards still breathing. This is Jack Harlan from the BBC bunker under Broadcasting House. Fogs hit central London, Westminster's dark, the Tube's a tomb. We've lost contact with the PM, militaries pulling back to bunkers. But listen up, the black fog ain't empty. We've dubbed 'em fog lords, cursed souls from the Blitz, noble pricks who sold out to the Jerrys for immortality. They feed on light and fear. Your best weapon, high-intensity light. Lasers cut through like Excalibur. We've got reports from survivors. Shine it and you see 'em. Don't shine it, they see you. Jack paused, his Dublin accent thickening with strain. I'm holed up with a skeleton crew. Signal's spotty, but I'll broadcast survival codes every hour. Code 1, barricade with salt and iron Victorian wards. Code 2, never sleep facing a window, and if you hear whispering your name, run. Stay vigilant, London. Razor out. Salt and iron. Bloody hell, it sounded like a ghost story. But I wasn't about to argue with the only lifeline I had. I bolted upstairs to the attic, where I'd stored my late wife's antique collection, remnants of her fascination with Victorian occultism. Dust motes danced in my laser beam as I rummaged through crates. Bingo! A sack of rock salt from an old estate sale, and a rusted WWI bayonet that had belonged to my grandfather. His service revolver, a Webley MKVI, sat in a locked case beside it, 6 bullets, engraved with his initials, EB 1940. Back on the ground floor, I worked fast. Poured salt lines across every threshold, nailed iron horseshoes above the doors. The house felt like a fortress now, Fortress Camden, my last stand against the abyss. I dragged my grandfather's old army trunk into the living room. Inside, a half-dozen smoke grenades from some black market surplus he'd hoarded, plus a tactical flashlight with laser sight. My hands shook as I loaded the Webley, the metallic click echoing like judgment. The fog outside thickened, muffling the distant screams that had peppered the air earlier. No more sirens, no more chaos, just silence broken only by the radio's static hum. I tested the laser on the living room window again. Lord Reginald was still there, unmoving save for the subtle rise of his chest. His grin widened as our eyes met, and that whisper clawed back. Your bloodline owes me, boy, the fire. It bound us. Fuck you, I snarled, banging the window with my fist. He didn't flinch. I turned off the laser and he vanished into the black. On again, he reappeared, patient as death. Hunger gnawed at me, but my stomach twisted at the thought of eating. Still, survival demanded it. In the kitchen, I scarfed down tinned beans and biscuits from my emergency stock, prepped after exposing that government food shortage scandal last year. As I chewed mechanically, Jack's voice returned. Code 3, they've got numbers. 1 lord per window per soul inside. If you're alone, you're surrounded. We've got a map, Camden's hot zone. Ethan Blackwood, if you're out there, you pinged our forum last night. Your place is ground zero. Get to the canal locks. Reflectors there can amplify light. Harlan out. He knew my name. I'd posted anonymously on the dark web, but Razor was sharp. A spark of hope ignited. Maybe I wasn't alone. I grabbed a notebook, scribbling Morse code responses. Tapping the radio, BLACKWOD, HERE, CAMDEN, FORTRESS, HOLD. Static then, RAZOR, RCIV, HOLD, LIGHT, UP. Brotherhood in the dark. I allowed myself a grim smile. Night fell, or what I assumed was night since clocks were my only timekeeper. The fog erased day from existence. I couldn't sleep upstairs, too exposed. Instead, I unrolled a sleeping bag on the living room floor, back to the wall, Webley in hand. The laser stayed on low power, sweeping windows every few minutes. Reginald hadn't moved. His eyes followed me like spotlights. Exhaustion pulled me under despite the fear. Dreams came vicious and vivid. I was at a grand Victorian ball in a fog-shrouded manor, chandeliers dripping black wax. Couples swirled in grayscale waltzes, but one dancer stood out. A woman in a tattered gown, her long black hair cascading like midnight silk. Lady Eliza Crow. She glided toward me, her pale lips curving in that same deadly grin, eyes white voids. "Dance with me, Ethan," she purred, her voice honey over razor blades. "Your grandfather promised my hand in fire. Now claim it." I reached for her, but her touch burned. Flames erupted from my scar, consuming the ballroom. Reginald loomed behind her, laughing. "The dead is due." I jolted awake, sweating, the laser beam jerking wildly. 3:17 a.m. The house was silent, too silent. I swept the beam across the ground floor windows, Reginald at the front, but now, movement at the sides. I crept to the kitchen window. There, pressed against the glass, Baron Gustav Thorn, a mountain of a man, bloated and grotesque, his vest straining over rolls of colorless flesh. He chuckled, a low, thunderous rumble that vibrated the panes, like he knew a joke at my expense. Beside him, in the dining room window, Sister Morgana Vale, emaciated in her shredded habit, clutching a broken rosary, her milky eyes weeping black tears. They were multiplying. Jack was right. One per window per soul, my soul. Panic clawed my throat, but I forced calm. Code 2, never sleep facing a window. I'd broken it. No more dreams tonight. I dragged the trunk to the center of the room, barricading myself inside its open lid like a foxhole. The laser's battery warning blinked red, 40% left. I rationed it, plunging into darkness between sweeps. Hours blurred. Whispers seeped through the walls. Blackwood, pay, fire. Reginald's voice layered with others. My scar blazed, visions flashing, grandfather's diary entries I'd read as a kid. October 20, 1940, torched Ash Manor. Lord Reginald betrayed us to Nazis. His screams, unnatural. Twist of the knife. My bloodline started this. Dawn or 7 a.m. brought no light. Radio hummed. Razor here. Fog lords active. Camden canals your exfil. Blackwood. Smoke grenades blind 'em. We're coming at dusk. Hold the fort. I tapped back. HOLDING. But as I glanced at the front window one last time, Reginald's grin split wider, revealing fangs that gleamed red, the first color since the fog. He mouthed, "Dusk comes early." The fortress was holding, but for how long? The laser's red warning light pulsed like a dying heartbeat, 25% power remaining. I stared at it from my barricade in the living room, the army trunk's lid propped up as a shield, Webley revolver heavy in my sweat-slicked grip. The whispers had grown into a chorus, slithering through the walls of Fortress Camden like serpents in the plaster. Blackwood. Fire. Debt. Reginald's voice dominated, but now it was joined by guttural chuckles from Gustav and a soft, seductive murmur that could only be Eliza's. My scar burned like a brand, each throb sinking with the fog's relentless pressure against the windows. It was 8:42 a.m. by the mantel clock, but time meant nothing in this eternal night. Dusk, Reginald had mouthed. Dusk comes early. I couldn't wait for rescue. Jack's signal was fading. The last Morse tap had been an hour ago. COMING, DUSK, CANAL. If the fog lords were multiplying, sitting duck wasn't an option. Survival demanded action. I cracked open grandfather's trunk wider, the hinges creaking like old bones. Beneath the smoke grenades lay his full kit from 1940. A trench knife with a serrated blade etched with occult runes. My grandmother's touch. She'd been into that spiritualist nonsense. A bandolier of iron nails, and 2 spare battery packs for the laser, scavenged from Cold War surplus. Jack's Code 1 in action. Right, I muttered, clipping the bandolier across my chest. Time to hunt the hunters. I loaded a fresh battery, power jumped to 100%, and swept the laser across the ground floor. 7 windows, 7 lords. Front, Reginald, patient as a spider, fangs glinting red. Kitchen, Gustav, his massive frame heaving with silent laughter, meaty fists tapping rhythmically. Dining, Sister Morgana, whispering prayers backward, black tears streaking her gaunt cheeks. Study, Dr. Silas Reed, skeletal and clinical, syringe poised at his own vein, injecting shadows. Parlor, Lady Eliza Crow, blowing kisses through the glass, her black hair writhing like smoke. Side entrance, another form, a wiry footman from Ash Manor, grinning with missing teeth. Basement grate, something canine, eyes glowing white from below. 1 per window, 1 per soul, my soul splintered into their feast. The radio sparked, Blackwood razor, fog lords hunt at movement, stay still, they wait, move, they strike. Canals 400 meters north, reflectors on lock 7, smoke your way out, we're en route. Code 4, iron to the heart, Godspeed. I tapped back, MOVING, NOW. No more waiting. I grabbed the trench knife, sheathed it at my belt, and pocketed 2 smoke grenades. The plan: breach the 2nd floor, break a window to the balcony, rappel down using bedsheets, then sprint to the canal. Fight only if cornered. But as I crept toward the stairs, a floorboard groaned. Mistake. The tapping started, tap, 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 from every window, synchronized like a war drum. Whispers crescendoed, he's moving, feast. Fuck, I bolted upstairs, taking steps 2 at a time. The laser beam danced wildly, revealing new horrors at the upper windows I'd ignored. Master bedroom, Eliza now inside the room. No, pressed to the glass, her gown melting into fog. Guest room, the footman, clawing with elongated nails. Bathroom, Dr. Silas, scalpel scraping porcelain. Hallway skylight, shadows writhing above. They were adapting, learning. I slammed into the master bedroom, heart jackhammering. Eliza's face filled the window, inches away, her grin serpentine. Dance with me, Ethan. Her whisper pierced the glass, real this time, vibrating my skull. Your grandfather torched my dowry. Now you pay the bride price. Rage overtook fear. My scar screamed. I smashed the Webley butt against the window crack, spiderwebbing the pane. Stay the hell out. Glass shattered outward in a cascade, fog recoiling like burned flesh. Eliza shrieked, a sound like shattering crystal, her form flickering. Opportunity. I yanked bedsheets, knotting them into a rope, tying one end to the iron bed frame. Laser clipped to my belt, knife in hand, grenades ready. I swung legs over the balcony railing, the void below, a 20-foot drop to the alley. Whispers howled. Jump, fall. I rappelled down, sheets burning my palms. Halfway clink, something latched my boot. Gustav's meaty hand bulging through a first-floor window. His chuckle boomed, tasty marrow. I kicked free, trench knife flashing slash, severing 3 sausage-like fingers. Black ichor sprayed, sizzling on the fog. He bellowed, recoiling. I hit ground running, alley pavement slick underfoot. The hunt was on. Camden streets were a graveyard of stalled cars and abandoned market stalls, colors leached to grayscale ghosts. I sprinted north, laser beam carving a tunnel through the black. Behind me, tapping evolved to pounding, windows shattering block by block. Whispers named me, Ethan, Blackwood, thief of flames. At the first intersection, Dr. Silas lunged from a shattered chemist shop, syringe aimed at my neck. Sample time. His voice was wet, clinical. I sidestepped, firing the Webley bang, iron slug through his chest. He staggered, shadows leaking from the hole, but grinned wider. Heart. Iron to the heart, Jack's code. I lunged, knife plunging true shunk, into his ribcage. Silas dissolved into wisps, screeching, more serum, more. 1 down, 5 to go. Canal ahead 200 meters. A blur from the rooftops. The hellhound pack. 5 spectral wolves, shaggy fur matted black, muzzles elongated with slavering tongues. Leader's eyes, white voids, locked on me. They leaped, bounding across cars like shadows. I pulled pins on both, smoke grenades hiss, tossing them behind. Thick white clouds erupted, blinding the pack. Howls pierced the smoke, yelp, snap, gnash. One hound burst through, jaws clamping my calf, rip, tearing denim and flesh. Pain exploded, hot and blinding. Get off, I bashed its skull with the laser, crack, beam searing its eye. It yelped, releasing. I limped on, blood soaking my boot. 100 meters. Sister Morgana blocked the canal path, rosary whipping like a lash. Confess your sins, arsonist. Black tears whipped into acid rain, sizzling my jacket. Webley clicked, empty. Knife out. She lunged, I parried, her beads wrapping my wrist, burned like hellfire. I headbutted her milky eyes, crunch, then drove the blade up through her jaw. Absolved, she crumbled to ash, whispering Latin curses. Canal locks in sight, reflective panels on lock 7 glinting faintly through fog. Jack's voice crackled from my radio earpiece. I'd grabbed it pre-jump. Blackwood, hounds on your 6, aim for the water silver lining. The pack closed in, 3 remaining, circling with wolfish grins. Leader pounced, massive jaws wide. I dove sideways, rolling into the canal's edge. Cold water splashed, but the beam caught its underbelly, sizzle. Fur igniting in white flames. It plummeted, thrashing. The others flanked. I fired the laser full blast into one's maw, beam lancing through skull. Poof, gone. Last hound leaped. I grabbed a loose iron mooring spike from the dock, impale, straight through its heart. It dissolved, whimpering, master, avenge. Panting, leg throbbing, I staggered to lock 7. Panels, mirrors from old narrowboats angled to amplify light. Perfect. But triumph died. From the fog atop the lock, Lady Eliza and the footman descending like royalty. Reginald materialized beside them, greatcoat billowing, all grinning. Well danced, Ethan, Eliza purred. But the ball's not over. Footman charged, nails raking. I ducked, spike swinging gash, opening his gut. Shadows spilled, he laughed, reforming. Eliza twirled, gown ensnaring my legs. Marry me in darkness. Her kiss brushed my cheek, ice and fire. I broke free, smashing a mirror panel into her face, shatter. Shards reflecting laser beams 100-fold. She screamed, hair igniting. The light, betrayal. Reginald advanced slowly, fangs fully red now. Your grandfather's fire bound me. Yours will free us. He raised a hand, fog tendrils lashed like whips. Radio screamed. Blackwood, dusk in 5, we're here, light show incoming. Gustav's laughter boomed from behind. Had he followed? The poundings resumed, closer. I backed to the lock's edge, mirrors arrayed, laser raised. Come get your debt, you Victorian fucks. They lunged as one. I flicked the beam, mirrors ignited, a supernova of white exploding across the canal. Fog lords shrieked, forms blistering. Footmen melted to puddle. Eliza, dress aflame, beauty twisting to skull. Ethan, my love. Gustav burst like overripe fruit, ichor flooding the lock. Reginald stood firm, red eyes blazing. This changes nothing. Beam hit him square, chest smoking, but he laughed, stepping through. Hand clamped my throat, dusk, now. The sky, impossible, darkened further. Whispers peaked, feast. Then boom, flares from the south. Jack's team, military Humvee roaring up, roof-mounted spotlights blazing. Razors got you, Blackwood. Reginald hissed, releasing me, vanishing into retreating fog wisps. The mirrors held, light pulsed, carving a safe zone. I collapsed against the lock, leg a bloody mess, Webley empty, knife bent. Jack leaped from the vehicle, tattooed Irishman, wild red hair, shotgun in hand. Bloody hell, mate, you shagged the lot. Most, I gasped, grinning through pain. Reginald's the big one, says I owe him from 1940. Jack's eyes widened. Ash Manor, your granddad's torch job, fuck me, you're the Blackwood. Humvee idled, spotlight sweeping. Fog receded slightly first time. Canals clear, mount up, we're pushing to BBC bunker. I limped aboard, adrenaline crashing. Victory, temporary, whispers lingered, we'll return, at sunset. As we peeled out, mirrors still glowing behind, I reloaded the Webley with iron slugs from Jack's kit. The night hunt was over, but the war, just beginning. The Humvee's engine roared like a wounded beast as we tore through Camden's fog-choked streets, its roof-mounted spotlights carving twin tunnels of salvation through the black. I slumped in the back seat, leg propped on a crate of ammo, Jack razor, Harlan himself kneeling beside me with a field medic's kit. Blood soaked my boot, the hellhound's bite throbbing in time with my scar, a vicious rhythm that matched the distant pounding now echoing from every shattered window we passed. The mirrors at Lock 7 still glowed faintly behind us, a fragile beacon in the abyss, but the victory felt hollow. Reginald's parting words clawed at my mind, this changes nothing. And now, as dusk descended impossibly early, clocks reading 4:17 p.m., the whispers returned, louder, layered. Blackwood. Harlan. Debt collectors come. Bloody Nora, you're a mess, Jack grunted, his Dublin brogue thick with adrenaline. Tattoos snaked up his arms, Celtic knots intertwined with BBC logos and Blitz bomb silhouettes, while his wild red hair stuck out like a halo under the cab light. He was younger than I'd imagined, 28 tops, but his eyes held the weariness of a man who'd seen too many sieges. That hound got you good. Silver iodide coming up, old IRA trick for werewolves. He jabbed a syringe into my calf, fire lanced through the wound, then blessed numbness. There, won't turn furry on me, will ya? I managed a grim chuckle, clutching the reloaded Webley. Only if you play bagpipes. The team, 3 ex-military types from Jack's bunker crew, laughed nervously from the front. Big Dave, the driver, a burly Scotsman with a beard like steel wool. Lena, the Polish sniper with a scar across her cheek. And Tarek, the tech whiz fiddling with a jury-rigged signal booster. They were ragtag but armed to the teeth. Shotguns loaded with iron rounds, laser arrays ripped from police cruisers. Even a flamethrower Tarek had MacGyvered from propane tanks. Status Razor, Lena called, her accent sharp as her aim, scanning rooftops through the scope. Jack tapped his earpiece. BBC bunkers 2 clicks south, signal holding at 60%. Fog's thickening, Lords are regrouping. Blackwood, your granddad's diary got it on you. I nodded, pulling the leather-bound volume from my jacket. Pages yellowed, ink faded, Oct 20, 1940, Ash Manor. Reginald Ash, Earl of Camden, Nazi collaborator. Sold Blitz intel for occult ritual immortality via fog binding. Torched the lot, his screams. Blackwood dead eternal, my hands shook. He was my great-grandfather's commanding officer. The fire didn't kill Reginald, it cursed him. Bound his soul to the fog, and now, me. Jack whistled low. Plot twist of the century. You're the key, mate. Lords want your blood to break the binding, full apocalypse. The Humvee swerved around an overturned black cab, headlights piercing a cluster of fog lords shambling in the street. Sister Morgana's remnants reformed, her rosary lashing like a whip. Lena fired, asterisk crack, asterisk, iron slug vaporizing her mid-prayer. One less nun from hell. But then it hit. Tap, tap, tap. Starting faint from a single alley window, then another, and another. Synchronized, relentless like a metronome from the underworld. The pounding spread, building to a thunderous asterisk boom, 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 shaking the vehicle's frame. Whispers erupted in unison, 1,000 voices nomming us. ETHAN, Jack, Dave, Lena, TARIQ, pay, fire, debt. Sink hell, Jack yelled. Code 5 full lockdown, it's their war drum. The team knew the drill. Dave floored it, Lena and Tarek rolled up armored shutters over the windows. I gripped the radio. All survivors, this is Blackwood. If you hear the tapping, it's the end game. Reflect light. Fight synced. Static exploded with replies. Camden Market tapping everywhere. Regent's Park Lords breaking in. Thames bridges collapsing. Rain lashed the windshield, torrential, unnatural, turning streets to rivers. Lightning cracked, illuminating Big Ben's silhouette in the distance, its face frozen at 4:20. Thunder rolled, but the pounding drowned it. Boom, boom, boom. Every window in London alive with fog lords hammering in perfect rhythm. The air pressure dropped, ears popping. Fog tendrils snaked through the Humvee's seals, tasting our fear. They're summoning, Tarek shouted, screens fritzing. Fog density up 300%, dusk accelerating. A window on my side shattered inward. Hellhound pack, regenerated, 3 strong, leaped through, jaws foaming. One clamped Dave's arm at the wheel, asterisk crunch asterisk, vehicle fishtailing into a lamppost. Crash. Chaos erupted. I fired Webley point blank, asterisk bang, asterisk, blowing the hound's head to mist. Jack swung his shotgun like a club, iron stock caving another's skull. Lena stabbed the third with her bayonet, asterisk schlick asterisk, black blood sizzling her gloves. But Dave screamed, arm mangled, blood spraying the dash. Keep driving, you big bastard, Jack roared, tourniqueting him one-handed. The Humvee lurched forward, grinding metal. Pounding intensified, asterisk boom 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 crash asterisk, buildings crumbling around us. A terrace house imploded, fog lords pouring out like ants, footmen, maids, soldiers from 1940 all grinning, synced fists raining down. Whispers personalized. Ethan, your wife's cancer, our gift. Jack, your Des IRA bomb, our spark. Dave, your boy in Afghanistan, our bullet. Mental assault. My scar asterisk exploded in agony visions. Sarah, my wife, wasting away, whispering fog in her final breath. Jack paled, Mida, fuckers. Resist, I bellowed. They're lies. Lightning struck a power line, asterisk kaboom, asterisk sparks raining. Tarek whooped. Power surge, redirecting to spotlights. Beams tripled, vaporizing a dozen lords in a white blaze. But Reginald materialized on the hood, greatcoat whipping in the storm, red eyes blazing like hellfire. Boom, windshield spiderwebbed under his fist. Blackwood, your blood ends this. His voice boomed over the sink, fangs dripping ichor. Lena fired, slug ricocheted off his chest. Iron heart, remember, Jack yelled. I leaned out the shattered window, rain blinding me, Webley aimed. Bang, 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 3 shots, none penetrated his coat. Humvee skidded into Broadcasting House Plaza, BBC bunker entrance ahead, a reinforced steel hatch under the tower. Guards fired flares from sandbags, holding a perimeter. But the sink peaked. Boom, 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 crack. Hatch buckled. Ram it, I shouted. Dave grinned through pain, gunning the engine. We plowed through Lord ranks, bodies bursting like pinatas, crashing into the hatch. Screech. It gave way. We tumbled into the tunnel, doors slamming shut behind. Darkness, then emergency reds flickered on, pounding muffled to echoes, whispers dulled. We piled out, dragging Dave to medics. Jack clapped my shoulder. Fortress down, but bunkers up. 200 souls inside, survivors, techs, military brass. Tarek patched the radio. London-wide broadcast now. I grabbed the mic, voice raw. This is Ethan Blackwood. Sink hell's here. But we're fighting, reflect every light source. Mirrors, lasers, fires, amplify. Your names are weapons, shout back. Blackwood out. Replies flooded, copy shining, tapping, stopping. Cheers erupted in the bunker. But no respite. Alarms blared, breach level 1. Reginald asterisk inside asterisk. Hatch blown open from within, fog billowing. He strode down the corridor, lords flanking. Eliza seductive, Gustav thundering. Sila's injecting shadows into guards, turning them against us. Defend, Jack yelled, shotgun barking. I charged Reginald, trench knife flashing. For Sarah, for Granddad, our blades clashed, sparks flying. His strength was demonic, he hurled me into a console. Crash, ribs cracked. Eliza ensnared Jack. Irish boy, dance with death. He blasted her gown, flames, but she laughed, hair strangling his throat. Lena sniped Gustav, headshot vaporizing half his bulk, but he reformed, crushing her rifle. Tarek activated sprinklers. Water plus iron pipes equals acid rain on Silas. Sizzle. Dave bandaged, lobbed a grenade. Boom, corridor filled with smoke. Reginald pinned me, fangs at my throat. Spill Blackwood blood, fog eternal. Whispers synced worldwide, feast. My scar asterisk ignited asterisk, not pain power, grandfather's fire unbound. I headbutted Reginald asterisk crack asterisk, then drove the knife home, shunk, straight to his heart. He screamed asterisk, a blitz siren from hell, red eyes dimmed, debt, paid no. Twist, he dissolved asterisk partially asterisk, ichor flooding the floor, but his coat remained poolsing, proxy, you. Eliza shrieked, releasing Jack. All lords flickered, sync stuttering, tap tap, tap, silence. Fog asterisk thinned asterisk, first real retreat. London lights flickered on street lamps, Big Ben mirrors worldwide amplifying the surge. Jack coughed free. You did it, mate, heart strike. Medics swarmed, Lena limped up grinning, sink hell broken. But as Reginald's coat twitched, a final whisper, sunset returns, full dead at dawn. Bunker secured, casualties heavy but victory. Rain eased outside, lightning revealed stars impossible. I collapsed, knife bloodied. Jack, the war. He grinned, just heating up, rest we hunt at dawn. Sink hell ended, but the lords merely paused. The bunker's emergency lights hummed overhead, casting a sterile red glow across the chaos of broadcasting house's lower levels. Medics swarmed like ants over the wounded, their shouts mingling with the beeps of monitors and the crackle of overtaxed radios. I lay on a gurney in the makeshift infirmary, chest heaving, Reginald's ichor-smeared trench knife clutched in my fist like a talisman. My ribs screamed with every breath, cracked, maybe broken, but the pain was distant, drowned by adrenaline and something deeper, power. My scar, once a curse, pulsed with warmth now, like embers from grandfather's fire finally finding fuel. Sink hell had broken, the pounding had stopped, but as Jack's words echoed, we hunt at dawn, I knew this was no end. It was a pivot, a reversal. Jack knelt beside me, wiping blood from his neck where Eliza's hair had nearly strangled him. His wild red mop was singed, tattoos glistening with sweat, but his grin was pure Dublin defiance. You're a feckin' legend, Blackwood, stabbed the Earl of Hell himself. Radios lighting up, London's breathing again. He thrust a tablet into my hands. Screens showed live feeds, mirrors on rooftops worldwide, Times Square, Tokyo Tower, Eiffel amplifying emergency lights into blinding webs. Fog receded in patches, colors bleeding back. The red double-decker buses, green Thames water, even the Union Jack atop Big Ben fluttering vivid once more. Survivor broadcasts poured in. Camden Market clear, Lords melted. Paris Seine shining, vive la lumière. New York statues torch blazing, we're back. Tarek, bandaged but typing furiously at a console, whooped. Global sync reversal, fog density down 70%. Power grid stabilizing, mirrors created a feedback loop. Lena limped over, sniper rifle slung across her back, cradling Dave's head as medics stitched his mangled arm. Big man stable, says he'll drive us to Ash Manor at dawn. Her scar twisted in a rare smile. You did good, Ethan, for Sarah. Sarah, the name hit like a fresh wound. Visions from sink hell flashed, her final days whispering fog through chemo fog. Was it true? A lord's curse. I gripped the knife tighter. For her, for all of them. But victory soured. Alarms blared. Anomaly, REGINALD code ACTIVTING. Guards rushed to the corridor where we'd fought. The greatcoat lay twitching on the floor, ichor pooling like living ink. It rose, folding into a spectral figure, Reginald diminished, translucent, red eyes dim coals. Proxy. Incomplete, he rasped, voice a Blitz echo. Blackwood blood spilled, but not finished. Dawn. Ash Manor. Full ritual. Jack blasted it with his shotgun, asterisk boom asterisk, fabric shredding to rags. But the whisper lingered. Sunset returns. Eternally. Trap, I growled, forcing myself up. Ribs protested, but the scar's warmth spread, knitting pain to purpose. He's baiting us. Ash Manor where it started. Grandfather's torch job. Jack nodded, eyes steel. Then we end it, full team, dawn raid. Hours blurred in preparation. The bunker thrummed with life, 200 souls transformed from prey to predators. Engineers jury-rigged mirror trucks, chemists brewed iron salt napalm, survivors shared Morse codes like battle hymns. I pored over grandfather's diary by lamplight. Oct 20, 1940. Ash Manor Ritual Chamber, Fog Binding Circle. Reginald's bargain, Nazi occultists promised eternal night for Blitz immunity. I torched it mid-chant, but the fog, it escaped. Blackwood debt, 1 heir per generation to guard the seal. October 20, 2025. Exactly 85 years. My asterisk generation. The reversal wasn't luck, it was asterisk fated. Jack clapped my shoulder. Rest, hero, we roll at 5 a.m. Sleep came fitful, dreams vivid. Sarah dancing in sunlight, then Eliza's shadow claiming her. I woke at 4:30, scar blazing. Dawn. The convoy roared out at first light, real light, pink streaks piercing the thinning fog. 5 mirror trucks, Humvee lead, 20 fighters armed with lasers, flamethrowers, iron blades. Big Ben chimed 5:00 as we crossed Westminster Bridge, Thames sparkling below. London reborn, crowds cheering from windows, mirrors flashing salute. Blackwood, Razor, they chanted. Ash Manor lay north, ruins on Hampstead Heath. Burned husk since 1940, now fog-shrouded again. We parked 200 meters out, mirrors arrayed in a killing arc. Rain from sink hell had cleared. Dew glittered on grass, sky burning blue. Fan out, Jack ordered. Mirrors on ritual site. Blackwood, you and me center. We advanced, boots crunching gravel. Manor loomed, blackened walls, ivy strangled by fog wisps. Whispers greeted us. Welcome home, heir. Inside the grand hall, chandelier crashed, tapestries ash. Center, stone circle etched with runes glowing faint red. Reginald materialized atop it, full form restored, flanked by all asterisk lords. Eliza seductive, Gustav thundering, Sela's injecting shadows into asterisk new asterisk minion, zombified guards from sink hell. Hellhounds prowled, 5 strong. And more dozens, Victorian court rising from fog. Blackwood, Reginald boomed, fangs crimson. Complete the debt. Spill your blood in the circle, fog eternal, lords unbound. Refuse. London burns forever. Plot twist clawed me. Diary's last page, hidden till now, asterisk the heir's scar is key. Not curse, conduit. Channel fire through blood, shatter binding. Jack whispered, your call, mate. I stepped forward, knife raised, not to kill but sacrifice. Grandfather torched you for betrayal. I'll burn you for asterisk vengeance asterisk. Slashed my palm, blood dripped scarlet into the circle. Scar exploded asterisk, flames white-hot, racing runes. Lords lunged, chaos. Jack blasted Eliza, shotgun flames igniting her gown. No dance, witch, she screamed, melting. My love, betrayed. Lena sniped Gustav, iron headshot bursting him like a balloon. For Dave. Tarek's flamethrower torched Sela's, shadows boiling. Science beats sorcery. Dave, arm slung, drove a mirror truck asterisk crash. Into hounds, blinding beams vaporizing them mid-leap. Team mirrors amplified asterisk my asterisk fire. Hall became inferno, lords blistering. Reginald charged, claws raking. Your asterisk mine asterisk. We grappled, knives clashing, blood mixing. Whispers peaked, feast. But my scar channeled asterisk grandfather's blaze asterisk. I drove the blade, not heart but rune on his chest. For Sarah, for London. Shunk. Reginald asterisk shattered asterisk glass-like scream, body fracturing to black shards. Debt, reversed. Nooo. Binding broke. Fog howled asterisk sucked into the circle vortex. Colors flooded, tapestries vivid, chandeliers gleaming. Lords dissolved, asterisk poof asterisk, one by one, final grins fading to dust. Outside, mirrors blazed worldwide. Fog retreated globally asterisk, satellite feeds confirmed. Atlantic clear, skis blew from pole to pole. We emerged to cheers. London thronged Hampstead Heath, thousands, mirrors aloft. Big Ben pealed noon. Jack hugged me, laughing. You did it, you mad bastard, fog lords gone. I smiled, scar cooling to faint glow. Sarah's voice, imagine, proud. But as we loaded up, a shard from Reginald's coat glinted in my palm, tiny, pulsing. Whisper faint, sunset. One day, returns. I crushed it, grinning at Jack. Sequel bait, but today, we hunt asterisk them. Humvee roared south, convoy trailing. Radio broadcast. This is Ethan Blackwood, fog lifted, lords defeated, but vigilance mirrors up, lights burning, London stands, world stands, Blackwood out. Crowds parted chanting, Blackwood, razor, hope. Reversal complete. Not just survival, asterisk, triumph, asterisk. The storm from the Thames was over, but in my pocket a spare battery, just in case. Epilogue 6 months later. October 20, 2026. Ash Manor rebuilt, Museum of Hope. I stood on the balcony with Jack, Lena, Tarek, Dave, Team Eternal. Sarah's portrait hung inside, smiling. London bustled below, colors eternal. Jack raised a pint, to reversal. I clinked, to hunting. Scar tingled, sunset neared, a fog wisp distant, nah, just rain. Or was it?